part one of this video, we discussed what each attribute does and how little impact they actually have game to game. We also discovered the most important customization option is height. In this part, we'll talk about how to make the best build for you and your team, but I'm not going to go re-explain the attributes in detail, so if you haven't seen part one yet, go back and watch it now. Before we start, here's 3 builds I personally use. I hardly notice the difference between the 3 and use each of them to prove to myself and everyone else that it doesn't matter what build you use, it matters how you use it. Also, check out what the top goalies are using in esports tournaments. You'll see each of their builds are slightly different. They use different specialties, stances, whatever. Again, it's further proof that it's really up to you what you use. And just for good measure, here's the pie chart again. Get used to it. Focus on positioning and play reads. Your build isn't that important. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is pick a base set of attributes to start with, and we're either going to select stand-up, butterfly, or hybrid. We've proven that there's no impact on save animations or anything in game between these classes outside of the attribute difference. This has been confirmed by the developers as well. Next, pick a height. We suggest between 6'3" and 6'5". In the last part, we talked about how you take up more net the taller you are. Your 5-hole also gets bigger as well. That's important to note. This is important in situations where your goalie gets no save animation, as you rely on your static player model to be in the way of the puck to save it. I set mine at 6'5" for both 3s and 6s unless I'm just messing around for fun. Next, pick your weight based on the speed you prefer in the crease. Some people like slower speed, some people like faster speed, some people like more control over their movements, whether people like to have that speed to save cross creases and breakaways. Pick whatever will help you stay in position wherever feels the best for you. If you like slower builds, I've seen people dominate with butterfly at the highest level, so don't worry about it. The taller you make your goalie, the more vision and rebound control increase. But your 5-hole, speed, and agility will decrease. The opposite is true. The heavier you make your goalie, your rebound control will increase, but your speed and agility will decrease. Obviously, if you make your goalie lighter, your speed and agility will go up, but your rebound control will go down. Before we move on to attributes, traits, and specialties, ask yourself these 3 questions. Am I playing 3s or 6s? What chances do I face most often in every game? And how does my team play in front of me? It does not matter what build you use in 3s or 6s, they will perform the same. I use the same build in both modes. Sometimes I don't even change my specialty because I'm lazy. But if you want to improve your build theoretically for 3s, you will face less screen chances, deflections, and rebound chances. So that means vision, rebound control are probably less important in 3s. And obviously, don't use a penalty kill specialty as there are no penalties, just penalty shots. Okay, on to traits and attributes. Use traits to modify your base class to your liking. Some people don't use traits at all. That's okay too. I personally go for a balanced high and low stat as I face the same number of high and low shots in game. However, if you feel more confident running 95 glove and stick high, go for it. I ignore 5-hole as I'm manually in butterfly when I need to save a 5-hole shot. Again, if it makes you feel better, you can use 95-hole, but I'm telling you it's a waste. Next is a rebound control and shot recovery. Do you want to be able to make a second save faster after stopping the first shot? Or do you want to increase your chance of killing a rebound? It's up to you. Personally, we talked about this last time, I prefer to be free to move in my crease after the first shot than relying on the game to kill rebounds for me. But again, it's up to you, and you can even balance out these 2 stats fairly easily with traits. We've already covered speed and agility with height and weight, but gotcha 1 and 2 will increase your speed, while 5 or 1 and 2 and quick recovery 1 and 2 will increase your agility. Remember, this is preference based on how fast you want to be in the crease. If you want to feel safe playing 6s, I'd run your vision above 90. Sometimes I run a build with 97 vision just so I don't even have to think about it. But if you're playing 3s, put it at whatever you want. Just don't focus on it, as you're not going to face too many deflections or screen in 3s. Again, game to game, you're not going to notice a big difference in vision. The last thing to cover is your specialty. The single most important part of picking a specialty is that you want it to activate as frequently as possible, or at least give you a chance to save pucks that you normally don't. You'll know when a specialty activates because it'll glow green. Here are my favorite specialties for sixes. Number 1 is Cross Crease Master. It gives a boost to push-off speed as well as your reflexes on cross crease passes. The puck has to cross the center line of the ice, and it has to be closer to the net for it to activate. The speed boost on the push-off is actually noticeable in my opinion, and it allows me to use a slower build to control my positioning, but then benefit from the speed boost when I actually need it. I highly recommend everyone at least tries this one out. Number 2 is PK Energy. After a successful penalty kill, your team's energy levels will regenerate to 100% immediately. This is the ultimate team buff, and if your team takes lots of penalties or doesn't know how to manage their stamina well, then they'll love you for this. This also helps your team at the end of games after killing a penalty when they don't have time to regen their stamina. Do not use this in threes. I think that goes without saying. But this specialty and Cross Crease Master are the 2 specialties I recommend the most, depending on your needs for sixes. Next, we have Deflection Saves. It boosts your vision and shot recovery on deflected pucks. If you run a low vision build, this can help you out. But if you run anything above 90 in vision, I wouldn't worry about using this. And obviously not very effective in threes. Clutch Goalie increases your save ability in the final 2 minutes of the third period as well as in overtime. This year they added the OT boost, which actually made it a worthwhile specialty. If you play in leagues, you'll know how often games go into OT and how many goals come in the final minute of play. But this only boosts your attributes, nothing else. So the impact it may have is negligible. It took me 2 games losing on unlucky goals in the last minute or overtime to stop using this one and go back to Cross Crease Master. One Time Wonder gives you a boost to your reflexes on one-timer chances. There's no speed boost here. It just increases your attributes on one-timers. Not my personal favorite, as I'm not sure attributes are really going to help that much, but some people might like it. And lastly, for sixes, PK Specialist, a boost of reflex attributes on the penalty kill. Again, I don't recommend this one too much, but it is viable in sixes. For threes, obviously, again, do not use any PK specialties. I recommend, again, number 1, Cross Crease Master. It's the champ for both modes. Number 2, Calming Influence. It provides 100% energy regen after stopping a breakaway or penalty shot. This will help your team out a ton in threes. Number 3 is One-on-One Brick Wall. It increases your reflex attributes when facing a breakaway or a penalty shot. And although it's just an attribute boost on game-identified breakaways and penalty shots, you're going to face a lot of these in threes. Number 4 is One Time Wonder. Again, it's just an attribute boost, but in threes it's wide open and you're going to face a lot of one-timers. Number 5 is Clutch Goalie. There's less overtime in threes games, but again, this is still a nice boost at the end of the game. The other specialties aren't really worth their boosts for how little they activate. Workhorse boosts your reflex attributes for the full amount of time after saving 15 shots. On average, I face 10 to 12 shots a game. It's rare to face 15 shots in a game against good players, but also, I mean, let's be honest, by the time you've made 15 saves, you either don't need it, or the game is so far out of the reach, the reflex boost isn't going to help you come back. Standing on head replenishes your team's energy after 3 saves in 5 seconds. This rarely happens over the course of 25 games, and when it does, you usually get scored on by the third shot anyway, so forget about that one. All right, that's it for our 2-part series on goalie builds and attributes. I hope this was informative and it can be used as a reference and a resource going forward. Let me know what build you use down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.